So, as you're all probably aware, Bandai is planning to make a Gundam Metaverse, and last week they came out with some more concrete details surrounding the project. And the first thing that I want to make absolutely certain is that Bandai themselves are calling this a Metaverse. In my first video on the subject, I saw some people who thought that it was just a clickbait title that was used by the news articles that I cited, but no, we're talking about a 100% actual Gundam Metaverse here. Which then means that many people, myself included, will have a quite strong reaction one way or another, because recently we've really been swamped with metaverses left and right of varying quality, and most being on the more less quality side. And especially then because the first concept image was of a 3D world that was like a CEO's wet dream of what the metaverse would look like, I was extremely worried that Bandai was simply going to be wasting their money on this project, which would then in turn also not be great for us, the consumer. However, with the new details that came out, for better or for worse, Bandai looks like they're actually going to be making one of the first real metaverses, as described by Josh Triface's video, which I also quoted in my first video on the subject. So again, that is linked down below if you want some more information about metaverses in general. So first up, the good news. Bandai is rolling out this metaverse as part of their overall plans to promote Gundam, the intellectual property, and turn it into a social icon, promote Gundam worldwide, tackle social issues through Gundam-like recycling, and so on. These aren't new things, and if you've been following Gundam news, you'll know that they have been trying this over the past couple of months. But the thing then that makes me raise an eyebrow is that the metaverse is part of their worldwide plan. Premium Bandai isn't even worldwide yet. It's only available in Japan, America, and then certain select Asian countries. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that I, a European, really wonders how worldwide their worldwide strategy is actually going to be. And from what I've seen, the American P Bandai website also isn't that great as the Japanese P Bandai website. So again, things that don't exactly fill me with confidence on this metaverse. But then moving on to the details of this Gundam metaverse, which Bandai also nicknamed Side G, as in sides from the colonies. And just like the sides from the anime, Side G will consist of various colonies, with the 4 announced colonies being Gunpla, games, anime, and music, which you can then go to with your Bandai Namco ID. So let's explore and discuss what these colonies have to offer. The first colony that we'll be launching is, of course, the Gunpla Colony. Just as with every anime, the first thing we're getting is Gunpla. And as you've probably guessed, one of the things that will be on this colony is a Gunpla store, which will have a trial run in fall. Meaning that the first steps towards the Gundam Metaverse will be happening really soon. But this also immediately goes to my point on how worldwide this thing is actually going to be. Because the image shown in this section is a Gundam base banner, which only ships to Japan for reasons that are on the other side of this page. Yeah, that about sums it up basically. Other than that, they'll be implementing a My Room function, which sounds inoffensive enough, but also not something to get super excited about. You'll probably be able to display trophies like a medal for visiting the Gundam base, or like a new Gundam figure if you went to the life-size new Gundam. Other things then that will be included are Gunpla contests, Gunpla building tutorials, and more. And then the last thing that they promised for this colony is that they'll be combining digital and physical things to complete the Gunpla colony. Again, what this means in practice remains to be seen. Overall though, this is a concept that I think can work really well. It's kind of like placing a bunch of Gunpla related content into one curated area that can then be linked to each other in a meaningful way. For example, on a store page of a certain Gunpla, it can link to like a relevant building guide, or the other way around, when you're watching a beginner tutorial, the page can link you to an easy Gunpla that you can start with and then try out the tutorial with. Or for example, if there's a Gunpla competition going on, they can link you to like eligible Gunpla that you can enter the contest with. Perhaps not groundbreaking, but that would be an implementation that would be convenient for the customer and would of course also allow Bandai to collect a lot of information on the customer. Because, well, at the end of the day, let's not kid ourselves, that is the purpose of a metaverse. Next up then is the one that I'm worried about the least. The Esports Colony. Because Bandai and video games go hand in hand like Bandai and Gundam. The plans here aren't going to surprise anyone. Using the upcoming Gundam Evolution, they want to enter the esports scene. And for this, I believe that Bandai will successfully launch this thing worldwide. Even though Europe might have to wait a little bit longer than Japan and the US. And the other pillar of this colony is, of course, Battle Operation 2, which is currently enjoying a worldwide success. Yet another reason why I'm not worried about this colony. The two colonies then that they don't elaborate on are the Anime Colony, which I guess is just going to be episodes and trailers like on the Gundam.info YouTube channel, or like the Gundam channel YouTube channel, and the Music Colony. And all I can say to that is, look up the Decentraland rave. I guess this is going to be the colony they'll use if Bandai decides to do the Metaverse equivalent of Operation British. What they told us instead was that they want other companies and fans to enter the Metaverse to create Gundam content and do business using Gundam. The end goal being to further expand the Gundam IP. And kind of the first thing that came to mind was how things work at conventions like OneFest, one of the biggest, or the biggest Japanese convention for garage kits. And at this convention, people who made a garage kit of like an existing anime character or a mech, Gundam for example, can get a one-day license to legally sell their creations. How Bandai's actually going to handle this, we'll have to wait and see, because as with everything else, no more further details are given. And then to beautifully wrap this thing up, the article ends with a Witch of Mercury trailer, which is region locked. The jokes and sponsorship segues just write themselves with Bandai's worldwide approach. So whenever the Gundam Metaverse finally launches, be sure to be using NordVPN to get access to everything. Not only will you unlock region-specific content, but you'll also enjoy more secure browsing. And if you use the code kkrt or the code down below, you'll also get a special discount and you'll be supporting the channel. And that is all that we know so far about the Gundam Metaverse. It is promising in certain areas, but considering Bandai's recent track record when it comes to gatekeeping Gunpla from anyone who isn't in Japan, I would advise getting too hyped about any of the vaguely announced features. At the very least, it seems like it isn't just going to be a virtual world like the first teaser image suggested. But this still leaves me with the question, how representative are these two teaser images going to be? Because even though they say that they're only for illustrative purposes, that can still mean many things. It could just be an attempt to catch the imagination of people who see the metaverse as a 3D virtual world without actually being a virtual world. Or it could be on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, with this virtual world being the main way to navigate to colonies. And I really hope it's the former, because I don't see a lot of benefits to creating a vast 3D online world just for Gundam fans. While it would be cool in theory, this would most likely just be something that costs a lot of money to make and maintain, and if anything, it would just make things like shopping around for Gunpla a hassle. Not to mention that I highly doubt that most people will want to log into a 3D world to talk about Gunpla, watch Gundam videos, or buy Gunpla. That is what a second monitor and Discord are for. And that has been all for this breakdown of what we know about the Gundam Metaverse so far. While I'm slightly more optimistic after this update, I'm still remaining cautious until I see what it's actually going to be about and how it's going to be implemented. But let me know what you think about it down below. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next time.